A recount is expected to start later this week in Wisconsin. How they will count the votes again, though, remains in question. Green Party candidate Jill Stein, who's behind that recount effort, now suing for a hand recount. Efforts are also underway to trigger a recount in Pennsylvania and are expected soon in Michigan, where the race is razor thin. I talked to the Green Party's presidential nominee just a few moments ago. You have said that we will never know if there was voter fraud or a massive systemic failure in the system unless we recount the votes. You know that a judge would never issue a search warrant without probable cause. Why should this massive and multi-million-dollar effort go forward?
Well, these are fundamentally different things. The search warrants, the requirement for search warrants is about protecting our civil liberties. On the other hand, votes are something that we are entitled to. As voters, we have a right to be confident in our voting system, and this really should be automatic. We shouldn't have to go to these extraordinary lengths to raise millions of dollars, to jump through incredible administrative hoops, to even assure the public that we can trust these votes and that they are accurate.
You said yourself that there has been no evidence of voter fraud. If there's been no widespread evidence, then why this effort?
So let me just separate voter fraud, which is usually refers to people voting who are not registered voters, people who are voting illegally, the fraud on the part of the voters. We're not looking at fraud on the part of the voters. We're looking at mistakes in voting machines that have been known to make grievous errors, have been proven to be wide open to tampering, to human error, to machine error. They miscount the votes. They've been declared illegal. Some of the machines used in Wisconsin have been declared illegal in California because they're basically wide open to mistakes. And other states are in the process of doing that as well. So we want to have confidence coming out of this very bitter and divided election. We want to know that we're going forward with security.
We should note that NBC's own Vote Watch program found no credible or widespread evidence of any machines malfunctioning, any changing of votes either. I think we should just note that for the purposes of our conversation. We should also note this. The margin in Wisconsin between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, that margin right now, about 22,000 votes. You received roughly 31,000 votes in that state. What do you think the outcome might have been had you not decided to run?
Well, what the numbers show is that if I weren't running or if I had dropped out, most of Green voters would not have voted, and of the remainder, a substantial portion, more than 1/3, would have voted for Donald Trump. So unfortunately, the numbers are very clear that absent my campaign, the results would have been absolutely no different. It would not have changed the outcome in any state. So that's very clear. We are not the spoilers. In fact, we are leading the effort here to be sure that we did not have a spoiled election, that there were not errors, that there was not tampering. And this is not a movement being started by me or the Green Party. All we did was put out a press release and open up a web page, and it took off by itself.
You've raised $6.5 million at last check, according to your website, $6.5 of the $7 million that you need to conduct these recounts. What's in this for you personally? How much of this is being driven by ego?
So let me say I've always been committed to ensuring that we can trust our voting system and to fixing the grievous problems in our elections, in our democracy. And that's really, you know, I'm a medical doctor. I'm practicing political medicine because it's the mother of all illnesses, to tell you the truth. What's in it for me is a world we can survive in, a world that our kids are not locked into debt forever. If we're going to fix the problems
how does this advance that? How does this advance any of those aforementioned causes?
Because we cannot get the policies that we need and we deserve if we cannot vote in a system that actually records our intentions. We must have confidence in our votes in order to impact policy. You know, Donald Trump talked about a rigged election system, and he got enormous resonance with that. Bernie Sanders talked about a rigged economy, and he had enormous resonance with that.
There has been no evidence that any of it is rigged.
Well, we the voters, we the people subject to this economy, to the offshoring of our jobs, to the skyrocketing of healthcare, we feel like the system is not working for us. We don't need to be convinced. And people have contributed small donations. Over 140,000 people came out of the woodwork here in order to move this forward. We have to start somewhere by reclaiming this promise of democracy, and we're going to start by ensuring that we have a voting system that we can trust.
Jill Stein, Green Party nominee for president. Jill, thank you so much for your time. Keep us posted on your efforts.
Will do. Good to talk with you.